One of the most dangerous mainstream mindsets is that when we understand something is harmful, we should avoid seeing any upside or any arguments for it. And common examples are, for example, eugenics, the vision of Adolf Hitler, conspiracy theories, aliens having visited us already. These are things most of the people agree that are outrageously false. And the moment we meet a person who actually supports, let's say, eugenics, we don't want to listen. Why? And we don't want to give these people platforms to give them voice in big podcasts because they carry a brain virus, which you and me understand that it's so bad, but somebody else might be affected because they're not as intelligent as you. You would think so. Well, think about it a little bit longer. If you hate Donald Trump, for example, half of American voters voted for him. Tens of millions of Americans. Are all these people evil, corrupted, or stupid? Is there a single Trump voter that is well-meaning, intelligent, and knows more than you about politics in the US? I would assume so. That doesn't mean that those people made the right decision. That means that you don't know enough to tell. And the only way to know enough, if you actually want to know, is to do your best and understand the reasoning behind well-meaning people who believe or do something you find outrageous and dangerous and horrible. Not to change your mind on whether that action is reprehensible, but to understand where these people who do that thing are coming from. So, another example. You see a drug addict injecting themselves with heroin. Why would anyone choose to do that to themselves? This is easier to understand. We know drugs are addictive, and when you don't have social support, you don't have a good family, you don't have good friends, your mental health is bad. One thing can lead to another, and you can become a drug addict. And then you can understand where the violence will come from stealing some money to get your dose. So that is an example where we don't mind going through the train of circumstances which led a person to the bad thing. And maybe you will find a lie you tell to yourself about it when you genuinely believe deep in your heart that you have enough evidence to deem something as horrible, like punching someone to steal their money to buy drugs. Then you are not scared of learning the story behind the action. But when deep in your heart you know that your hatred against, for example, Trump voters, or your hatred against immigrants, or your hatred against Christians or atheists can be reasonably questioned by you digging a little bit through and trying to find some common ground and empathy, you may be scared to touch that place because it will question your idea of who you are. It will show you that you are a hypocrite. And if you are intelligent enough, I want to argue that deep inside you, you know why you avoid looking at the reasoning behind people's behavior that you dislike, because you may find, actually they have some very good points. And you may even be afraid that you will change your mind and you will be infected and corrupted enough to do the bad thing, because then it will not feel so bad. And whenever an ideology is delivered through cult-like social groups, which is sometimes deliberate and sometimes it just occurs practically, it's even harder to get out from it. And when we get out, we are more vulnerable to entering another cult-like ideology. And so I know what I'm asking from you is very difficult, and it hurts. And I do make people uncomfortable because I invite them to question what they think they know as facts. If you watch my street interview about the idea of having a law against child obesity, you will see how this topic got people very uncomfortable. And I think this is good uncomfortable. This is one of the cases that it's useful to feel uncomfortable because we expand and deepen our understanding of how the world really works and how our own mind protects us from ideas that feel uncomfortable even if we logically can put all the pieces together to justify them. But because it's so uncomfortable, we don't do them. And this is how we lie to ourselves. This is how we are hypocrites and we know it. And I'm not even saying we shouldn't do it, because there's some very good social and psychological benefits to lying to ourselves. But from time to time, it is useful to be honest to ourselves, even if it feels horribly uncomfortable, and say, you know what? I live my life being a hypocrite this way and that way and that way. And I'm not gonna change how I live, but maybe in the future there will be an opportunity that will tip the balance enough to change how I will live. So my prompt is not to change how you live your life, but to understand how you are a hypocrite and to choose some moments, maybe 3 times a year, although these moments usually happen with some kind of excuse, like these videos that I'm making, that you're watching. You didn't ask for it. You didn't ask to be shamed for lying to yourself and lying to the world. But some of these lies are more dangerous than others. And actually, some of these lies are more useful than the truths, which is a concept I will discuss in the next video. Please subscribe to this channel if you really want to feel uncomfortable in a productive way. But regardless of whether they are useful or damaging or both, I want you to be aware of some of the lies you say to yourself. And I'm going to help you do that by doing it to myself and by doing it to strangers on the street and by making these videos. So thank you for watching and see you in the next video.